Gwen's whimsical wanderings. Gwen twirls into her craft and teleport station, her jingly bracelets and clanky earrings creating a merry cacophony. Her tall updo with its whimsy veil sways as she moves, and her platform clogs click-clack on the floor. Quirky Quill, are you ready for another adventure? She calls out to her snarky magic journal. The journal's pages ruffle in response. As ready as I'll ever be, I suppose. Where are we off to this time, you flighty fashionista? Gwen giggles, the sound oddly reminiscent of a hiccuping hyena. Oh, you grumpy old book. We're going shopping for curios and craft items, of course. And don't forget the trading cards, I simply must add to my collection of dollhouses, tea rooms, and hairstyles. How could I possibly forget? Quirky Quill's voice drips with sarcasm. It's not like we do this every single day or anything. As Gwen prepares to teleport, her hair shifts from bubblegum pink to a swirling galaxy of purples and blues. Her sleeves lengthen and puff out, transforming into billowing bishop sleeves that nearly touch the floor. First stop, the Twilight train. With a flash and a pop, Gwen and Quirky Quill materialize on a fantastical locomotive chugging through an eternally stormy sky. Rain pelts the windows, creating a soothing rhythm punctuated by occasional claps of thunder. Welcome aboard the Twilight train. A jovial voice booms. A playing card, the Jack of Hearts, waddles up to Gwen, bowing so low his pointy hat nearly scrapes the floor. May I offer you a refreshment, my dear? Perhaps a moonbeam mimosa or a starlight spritzer? Gwen claps her hands in delight. Ooh, both sound lovely. I'll try the moonbeam mimosa, please. As the Jack of Hearts scurries off, Quirky Quill groans. Must you encourage them? These overzealous cards are more annoying than a paper cut. Oh, hush, Gwen chides. They're delightful. And look, there's a trading card dispenser. I simply must see what they have. She skips over to the machine, her detachable overskirt swishing around her legs. With a few clicks and whirs, a card pops out. Oh, how marvelous. It's the Nebula Nook dollhouse. Just look at those tiny glow-in-the-dark stars on the ceiling. Suddenly, a gust of wind whips through the train car, and a tall figure materializes before Gwen. It's one of her phantom suitors, his white wig towering impossibly high. My dear Gwendolyn, he croons, surely you remember our moonlit strolls through the celestial gardens? The way the stardust sparkled in your hair? Gwen blinks, momentarily dazed as a vision of herself in a shimmering gown, arm in arm with the phantom, flashes through her mind. She shakes her head, dispelling the image. I'm terribly sorry, but I don't recall any such thing. Though it does sound like a lovely scene for my next story. The phantom's face falls, but before he can respond, the Jack of Hearts returns with Gwen's drink. Your moonbeam mimosa, madam. And might I interest you in our in-flight entertainment? We have a puppet show featuring the Ballad of the Bumbling Banshee starting in 5 minutes. That sounds splendid. Gwen exclaims, taking a sip of her iridescent beverage. Quirky Quill, remind me to jot down some notes. This could be perfect inspiration for my next puppet theater skit. The journal sighs heavily. As if I could forget. Your incessant scribbling keeps me up at night. As Gwen settles in to watch the puppet show, her phantom suitor fades away, a look of determination in his eyes. He'll try again later, perhaps in a different setting. The puppet show is a ride of color and laughter, with the bumbling banshee constantly tripping over her own spectral tail. Gwen's laughter sounds like a cross between a honking goose and a squeaky toy, drawing curious glances from other passengers. As the show ends, Gwen stands and stretches. Well, that was delightful. But I think it's time we moved on. Where to next, Quirky Quill? How about somewhere quiet? The journal grumbles. Perhaps a nice, boring library? Gwen tuts. Don't be such a fuddy-duddy. I know. Let's visit the glass garden. I hear they have the most marvelous prisms and suncatchers. With another flash and pop, they disappear from the Twilight train and reappear in a breathtaking garden made entirely of glass. Crystalline flowers sparkle in every color imaginable, while glass leaves tinkle melodiously in the breeze. Oh, how enchanting! Gwen gasps, her hair shifting to a soft rose gold that complements the garden's warm glow. Her sleeves transform into delicate flutter sleeves, mimicking the glass butterflies flitting about. A scarecrow wearing a tulle gown approaches, its painted-on smile somehow managing to look both welcoming and slightly unnerving. Welcome to the glass garden. It says in a voice that sounds like wind chimes. Would you care for a tour? Or perhaps you'd like to try our signature drink, the Crystal Clarity Cocktail? Before Gwen can respond, another phantom appears, this one sporting a wig that seems to be made of spun sugar. "Gwendolyn, my sweet," he coos, "surely you remember our picnic in the crystal caverns? The way the geodes sparkled like your eyes?" Another vision flashes through Gwen's mind, this time of herself and the sugar-wigged phantom sharing tea amidst glittering geodes. She blinks rapidly, dispelling the image. "I'm afraid I don't recall that either. But it does sound like a splendid setting for a tea party. Quirky Quill, make a note of that, would you?" The journal grumbles but complies, its pages rustling as it records the idea. The sugar-wigged phantom looks crestfallen, but before he can press further, a group of Gwen's prattle pets come bounding into the garden. Teddy Bear, Chimney Sweep, and Sybaritic Squirrel tumble over each other in their excitement. "Gwen! Gwen!" Teddy Bear calls out. "You won't believe what we found in the Netherworld Halloween garden." Chimney Sweep nods enthusiastically, leaving sooty paw prints on the glass flowers. "It's the most marvelous collection of spooky trading cards." Sybaritic Squirrel, not to be outdone, adds, "and they're having a sale on haunted house dollhouses." Gwen's eyes light up. "Oh, how thrilling! We simply must go at once." "Sorry, Mr. Scarecrow, I'll have to take a rain check on that crystal clarity cocktail." As they prepare to teleport once more, the sugar-wigged phantom calls out desperately, "But Gwendolyn, what about our memories?" Gwen offers him a sympathetic smile. "I'm terribly sorry, but I'm far too busy making new memories to dwell on ones I can't recall. Perhaps we'll meet again in another garden someday." With that, Gwen, Quirky Quill, and the prattle pets vanish in a shower of glitter, leaving behind a bewildered scarecrow and a dejected phantom. They materialize in the Netherworld Halloween Garden, a delightfully spooky paradise where jack-o'-lanterns grow on vines and ghostly flowers emit eerie, yet oddly beautiful, music. Gwen's hair instantly transforms into a cascade of orange and black curls, while her outfit shifts to a whimsical witch's costume, complete with striped stockings and pointed shoes that curl at the toes. "Now this is more like it," Quirky Quill admits grudgingly. "At least the atmosphere suits my mood." Gwen laughs, the sound reminiscent of a cackling witch. "Oh, you old softy. I knew you'd love it here." A group of skeleton gardeners approaches, their bones rattling melodiously as they walk. "Welcome to our haunted haven," the lead skeleton announces. "Care for a bone-chilling brew or a spectral spritz?" "A spectral spritz sounds divine," Gwen replies. "And could you point me in the direction of those spooky trading cards?" As the skeleton gardeners lead the way, Gwen and her entourage explore the eerie delights of the Netherworld Halloween Garden. They pass by a pumpkin patch where each gourd sports a different outrageous expression, a ghostly gazebo where phantom musicians play spine-tingling melodies, and a misty maze filled with whispering willows. Suddenly, a cold breeze whips through the garden, and yet another phantom suitor appears. This one wears a wig that seems to be made of cobwebs and shadows. "Gwendolyn, my dark delight," he intones dramatically, "surely you remember our midnight waltz in the graveyard gala? The way the moonlight cast our shadows upon the tombstones?" For a third time, a vision flashes through Gwen's mind. She sees herself in a gothic ball gown, twirling amidst fog-shrouded gravestones with the cobweb-wigged phantom. She shakes her head, dispelling the image once more. "I'm dreadfully sorry, but I don't seem to recall that either. Though it does sound like a marvelous theme for a Halloween party." The phantom's shoulders slump, but before he can respond, Chalky Chipmunk comes bounding up, his fur a ride of colorful chalk patterns. "Gwen! Gwen! You've got to see the trading cards. They have one called the Haunted Hair Salon. It's got ghostly stylists and everything." Gwen claps her hands in delight. "Oh, how perfectly spooktacular. Lead the way, Chalky." As they head towards the trading card booth, the cobweb-wigged phantom calls out, "But Gwendolyn, what of our eternal love?" Gwen turns back, offering a kind but firm smile. "I'm afraid eternal love isn't really my cup of tea. Speaking of which, I hear there's a marvelous witch's brew tea room just around the corner. Perhaps you'd enjoy that?" Leaving the dejected phantom behind, Gwen and her friends arrive at the trading card booth, which is staffed by a friendly vampire bat. "Welcome, my pretties," the bat squeaks. "What sort of cards tickle your fancy today?" "Oh, all sorts," Gwen exclaims. "Dollhouses, tea rooms, hairstyles, anything whimsical and wonderful." As Gwen peruses the cards, Quirky Quill pipes up. "Don't forget, you promised to tell me about some of your favorites." "Of course," Gwen says. "Well, there's the Cloud Cuckoo Cottage dollhouse card. It's a darling little house perched on a cumulus cloud, with rainbow slides instead of stairs. And the Topsy-Turvy Tea Room card is simply delightful. Everything's upside down, and the tea pours up instead of down." She continues, her excitement building. Oh, and I adore the mermaid's main hairstyle card. It shows the most elaborate updo with seashells and starfish woven throughout. And don't get me started on the fairy ring folly. It's a miniature coliseum made entirely of toadstools. As Gwen chatters on, her phantom suitors gather at the edge of the garden, watching her with a mixture of fondness and frustration. They exchange glances, silently agreeing that their quest to win her is far from over. After all, they have all of eternity to try, and Gwen's whimsical wanderings show no signs of slowing down.